start with the puja. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Avivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhamma Dhammang Namasam Supadipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti Peso Bhagavaraham Samma Sambuddha Vecha Charana Sampanno Sugato Lokavido Anuttaro Asarathi Sattha Deva Manosanang Buddha Bhagavati Namo Tassa Samma Sambuddhassa Echa Buddha Titacha Echa Buddha Nagata Pachupanna Chaye Buddha Nisabada Nati Me Saranang Buddha Me Saranang Varang Edena Hotu Te Jaya Mangalam Uttamang Ena Vandehang Padapang Varuttamang Buddheya Buddha Karmatutang Mamang Buddhang Yavani Bhana Pariyantang Saranang Gacchami Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Yahi Pasiko Panahiko Pachata Vedita Bhovinyahite Namo Tassa Niyanika Sadhammasa Echa Dhamma Titacha Echa Dhamma Anagata Pachupanna Chaya Dhamma Yahang Nami Sabada Nathe Me Saranang Anyang Dhammo Me Saranang Varang Etena Sacha Vajena Hotu Te Jaya Mangalam Uttamang Ena Vandehang Dhammang Cha Devedang Varang Dhammeyo Kalito Doso Dhammo Kamatutang Mamang Dhammang Yavani Bhana Pariyantang Saranang Gacchami Supadipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujjapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyaya Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samiche Patipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yogani Artha Purisa Pukala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneya Pahuneya Dakineya Anjali Karaniya Anuttarang Punya Ketang Loka Sati Namo tassa athariya pokala tassa echa sangha atita echa sangha anagata pacho panachaye sanghayaham va tami sabada nati me saranang anyang sangho me saranang varang etena sacha vajena hotu te jaya mangalang uttamang ena vandeham sangham cha te vedottamang Sangheya Kalido Doso Sangho Kamatu Tamamang Sanghang Yavane Bana Pariyantang Saranang Gaccham Evang Bodhang Sarantanang Dhammang Sanghang Chabekava Vayang Vedathang Valo Mahang Sona Hessati Ghanasara Paditena Dipena Tamodhang Sena Tilokadipang Sambuddhang Pujayami Tamonodang Gandha Samharayotena Dhupena Hang Sugandhina Pujaye Pujaniyantang Puja Bhajanamottamang Vannagandha Gunopetang Etang Kusamasantating Pujayami Munindasa Siripada Saroruhe Pujayami Buddhang Kusumena Nena Punyena Metena Chahotu Mokhang Kopang Melaya Tiyataya Dhamme Kaya Tathaya Tivinasa Bhavang Nirodha Samapatita Vadaidva Nisinasavya Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Imena Dipena Pena Pujami 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 Emang Vipado Papo Papo Jadi Nama Sakala Sambuddhanam Paceka Buddhanam Agasavakanam Mahasavakanam Arahantanang Bhakati Selang Ampite Sang Anubhatako Homi Imani Popa Nivane Napeso Vandang Gandhe Napeso Gandhang Santane Napeso Santanang Kepameva Dobanang Dogandha Dosantanang Papunisati Evameva Sabbe Sankhara Nicca Sabbe Sankhara Dukkha Sabbe Dhammaya Natati Emaya Dhammano Dhamma Patipateya Bodhang Puji Emaya Dhammano Dhamma Patipateya Dhammang Puji Emaya Dhammano Dhamma Patipateya Sanghang Puji Vandami Cheti Sabbatane Supatete Tang Sarere Kadhato Mahabodhi Buddha-rupam sakalam Yasamule Devi Jayannaka Pato Sabanyotang Satavande Tang Bodhipradapang Ime Yete Mahabodhi Lokana Tena Pujita Aham Pite Namasami Bodhi Raja Namatute Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa vipatti pativahaya sabba sampatti siddhaya sabba dukkhaṃ vinasaya sabba bhayam vinasaya Sabbarogang vinasaya bhavede gayakadayakam Sabbalokang hitataya paritang tang manamahe Samantha chakavale suatra gachantu devata Sadhamang Muni Raja Sadang Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Vadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Vadanta Dhamma Savana Kalo Ayang Vadanta Parita Savana Kalo Ayang Vadanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Karaniya matha kusalena yantang santang padang avisamecha Sako joja sojoja sovacho cha samudana timani Santo Sako cha Soharo cha Yapake cha cha Salahokabote Santen Nipako cha Yapagabotole Sonanugito Nachakadam samacare kinche navenyo pareyo pavadeyo sukhino bhakemino honto sabbe tata tata eke chebana bhotati tasavata Navasesa Negavaye Mahantava Sakanu Katola Negavaye Vaditaye Chadore Vasante Avedore Bodhava Sambhave Seva Sape Tata Bhavanta Sukhedata Naparo Parang Nigopeta Nyati Manye Tata Chinam Ganche Vyarosana Patiga Sanya Nanya Manya Sadokha Mecheya Mataya Dhaniyang Potang Ayusaye Kapota Manurake Evam Pisapa Bhuteso Manasang Bhavaye Yapadimanam Metancha Sabbalokasming Manasang Bhavaye Aparimanam Utang adho chatiriyanchaya sangva tang amirang asapatang Tekhan Asayano Vayavata Sabhigatamito Etang Sating Adechaya Brahma Metang Viharang Idamaho Dechencha Nupagamma Silava Dasanena Sampanno Kamesu vinayage dhang nahi jato gapasaya punarete te doka patachane doka bhaya patachane paya soka patachane soka honto sabe pipanino Etena sachavajena sotite onto sabada. Etena sachavajena onto te jaya mangalam. Etena sachavajena pato te ratanataya. Sabetiya vivachanto saparoga vinasato mate bhavatu antarayo sukhite kayuko bhava bhavatu sapa Rakhanto Sapa Devata Sapa Buddhano Bhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavato Sapa Mangalang Rakhanto Sapa Devata Sapa Dhammano Bhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavato Sabba Mangalam Rakhanto Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghano Bhavena Sada Sote Bhavantu Te Nakataya Kavodanam Bhava Nivarana Paritasano Bhavena Anto Deo Bhatave Deva Vasato Kalena Sasa Sampati Hetocha Veto Bhavato Loko Raja Bhavato Dhammiko Yang Nimitang Avamangalancha Yachamana Posakona Sasato Papa Gahodo Sabinang Kantang Buddhano Bhavena Vinasamento Dhammano Bhavena Vinasamento Sanghano Samento Chabhamatane Punyantang Sasanang Chirang Rakanto Desanang Chirang Rakanto Mang Parang Etavata Chamehe Sambada Punya Sambadang Sabbe Deva Anumodanto Sabbe Bhodaya Nomodanto Sabbe Sataya Nomodanto Sabba Sampati Siddhya Nibbana Sampati Siddhya Edang Vanyati Nangoto Sukhita Antanyatayo Edang Vanyati Nangoto Sukhita Antanyatayo Edang Vanyati Nangoto Sukhita Antanyataya Sabbe Bodha Vala Pata Pache Kanan Chayang Valang Arahantanan Chadena Rakang Manami Sabasa Sabbe Dhamma Vala Pataya Riya Sachanan Chayang Valang Dhamma Chaka Sadena Sabbe Sangha Vala Patna Vimottanan Chayang Balang Sasana Sadena Rasan Nami Sabasa Kayena Vacha Cetena Pamadena Maya Katang Achayang kamami bhante bodhi panya tatharata kayena vacha cetena pamadena maya katang Achayang kamami dhammo sandhika akanika Kayena vacha cetena maya katang Achayang kamami sangha punya ketang anuttaram Emena punya kamena mame vala samagamo Satang samagama hoto Yavanibana patya Edang me punya kamang Asavakayang vahang hoto Sapadukkang pamucchato Nibbana sapaccayoto Sadhu 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 So meditate for some time. Sit comfortably. Take a posture which is comfortable and that you can sit for longer time. Make sure your body is relaxed and loose. Not too tight, not too loose, just the right balance. Be aware here and now. Be aware of this body as you feel. Whatever you may feel about this body, whether it is heaviness or lightness, heat or cold, pleasant sensations or unpleasant sensations, whatever you may feel, just be aware. No need to like the sensations, no need to dislike the sensations. Just be aware here and now about this body and the sensations, whatever you may feel. Whatever is pleasant, be aware this is pleasant and let go. Train your mind not to say this one is pleasant, therefore I like it. I want this more. If it is not pleasant, be aware of that and then let it go. Don't allow your mind to tell this one is not pleasant, therefore I do not like, I don't want it anymore. Meditation is all about being aware of the phenomena as it is. Not liking, not disliking, not judging, not grasping, being aware and letting go. So whatever you may feel with this body does not matter. Be aware and let go with awareness. When you are able to let go the pleasant ones and the unpleasant ones without grasping, without clinging to them through liking or through disliking, then your mind can be at ease. Your mind can be peaceful. Similarly, you may observe your mind, various thoughts and emotions and feelings, mental feelings, and be aware of them. Be aware of any of the mental feelings and thoughts that are there in your mind at this point of time. Be aware, just be aware. And then you may let it go with awareness. Whatever the feelings are, whatever those thoughts are, good ones or bad ones, does not matter. You must let them go. The feelings that arises on this body does not stay for long. It comes and goes. The feelings that arises on this mind does not stay for long. It comes and goes. But we are not aware of this. Therefore we grasp at the feelings, the pleasant ones and the unpleasant ones. Our mind is busy all the time with liking and disliking. It has no peacefulness. It cannot put things down. Meditation is all about putting things down, putting down your burden, doing that with complete awareness. So let go the feelings on the body, let go the feelings on the mind. Then your mind will find better peacefulness. Your mind is peaceful, then you may observe your in breath and out breath, natural in breath and out breath for some time. When you are breathing in, remain aware of the in breath as it goes through the nostrils. Just be aware in and around the nostrils, how it goes inside. The feeling, the sensation of the air going inside the body. And as you breathe out, similarly be aware of the air going out through the nostrils. Just the awareness of breath going in and breath going out. Awareness of the in-breaths and out-breaths. You may gently open your eyes. So that was a brief meditation. Today we'll be there talking about a verse spoken by Lord Buddha in the Samyutta Nikaya. There are many discourses given by Lord Buddha to human beings, and there is also a lot of discourses given by Lord Buddha to divine beings. So some of them are collected in the Deva Samyutta. So generally in the midnight after the 12 o'clock, many divine beings will often visit Lord Buddha and ask questions about the spiritual life, about the right and wrong, about many things. There's an entire chapter called Deva Samyutta. So whatever discourses Lord Buddha gave to divine beings, generally they would be visiting in the midnight, after midnight, when nobody would be around Lord Buddha, when the place would be empty, when they would be visiting. So when Deva came one night in Jetavana, when Lord Buddha was staying in Jetavana in Savatthi, he stayed there in Savatthi for 25 years. So when he was staying there, he asked, this divine being came one day in the midnight and asked, what is the greatest wealth? There are 4 questions he asked. We'll go one by one. So first question he asked, what is the greatest wealth of a person? So what do you think of the greatest wealth? Maybe the money, your business, your bank balance, and so many other things, or your degree, or your profession, whatever it is, or your skills, professional skills. Lord Buddha said, the right faith is the greatest wealth of a person, the right faith. Faith that is rooted in wisdom. Faith that is rooted in wisdom. Not rooted in a blind belief, not rooted in ignorance. What is faith rooted in wisdom? When you believe, for example, when you believe there are good actions and then there are bad actions. There are wholesome actions and then there are unwholesome actions. There are, for example, speaking the truth is something which is wholesome. Or being kind or compassionate is something that is wholesome. Or being generous and helpful is something that is wholesome. So when you have the right understanding, faith, when it is rooted in the right understanding, then it becomes the right conviction. So when somebody has the right approach towards life, considering the good as good, bad as bad, considering the good actions as good actions and the bad actions as bad actions. When you have it, either you have it or you don't. It's simple as that. I say either you have it or you don't. But the good thing is, if you don't have it, then you can develop it through your practice. You may not have it. You may not have the right kind of faith rooted in wisdom, but you can surely develop this right kind of faith. through your practice. So the whole practice, the whole teachings the Lord Buddha gave is just for this, to see things here and now. In Pali, we call Sanditthiko, here and now, the teachings. If you speak the truth with kindness and compassion, you gain friendship, you gain good relationship, you have good relationship with all the people around you, with your family members, with your friends, relatives, colleagues, everywhere. But if you speak untruthful words, if you speak harshly, if you speak abusively, if you just blame or criticize others all the time, then ultimately all the relationship around you will suffer. Will suffer. That's the way things are. This is the law of nature. So this is just an example. So all the wholesome actions are just like this. They bring us peacefulness. They bring us lightness of the mind. Whatever we do, if we are being generous and kind, if we are being generous and kind, then our mind finds peacefulness. If we are being truthful, our mind finds peacefulness. If we are being helpful or kind or compassionate, our mind can find peacefulness. So this peacefulness is what Lord Buddha is referring to as an indicator of wholesome actions. Can be seen in your mind right now when you are doing something good, when you are being generous, when you are practicing goodness, virtue, morality, when you are practicing meditation. This peacefulness, this lightness of the mind that can be seen by yourself here and now. This is the indication of wholesome actions. Within your own heart, you can see this clearly without any doubt. And you don't need to go to the other people to tell you this. Is it right or wrong? Because you already know this peacefulness, this lightness of your heart associated with the brightness, wisdom, then you know this is right. You don't need to go around and ask people. So the faith, the conviction, the right kind of conviction, the right kind of faith that is rooted in wisdom comes from the right kind of practice. And this, Lord Buddha says, is the greatest wealth. He did not say the money that you save. He did not say your name and fame or reputation or any of those things. He said, if the right faith you possess, if the right faith in the wholesome actions you possess, if you believe right things are right, wrong things are wrong, there are right actions and wrong actions, then that is the greatest wealth. Why? Because then you will be guided by the right actions. Then you will not be guided by the wrong actions. If you believe harming other people is good, telling lies is good, taking things from others in wrongful ways is good, any unwholesome action, if you consider them as good, then you will commit them. And ultimately you will come to suffering. Ultimately you will come to unhappiness. What do we gain wealth for? If people were to ask you, what do we gain wealth for? What do we gain wealth for? You want to have a comfortable life. Okay, I need to have a good house. I need to have good clothing. I need to have good food. I need to have a good vehicle. But what for? To live comfortably, ultimately. To be able to live comfortably, we need the wealth. That's the purpose of wealth. If you need some money in case of an emergency, say for example, like medical emergency or any other kind of financial problems, then if you have the wealth, you can overcome them. But ultimately, what does it mean? It means you wish to have the wealth to gain some comfort, some level of comfort here. The Lord Buddha said, right faith, when you consider the right actions as the right actions and the wrong actions and the wrong actions, then you have the right kind of faith. That is your wealth, because then you can live comfortably. Whether you have more money or less money, whether you are more famous or less famous, that does not matter. Because you still will have the coolness of your heart. You will still have the lightness of your heart with you by the power of good actions. So whether people are all the time praising you or not praising you does not matter. No big deal. Whether you gain a lot of money or maybe a little less, no big deal. Because your mind's still at ease. Some people have a lot of money and a lot of uneasiness of heart. I have seen such people, enough of them. Uneasiness. They earn a lot of money. They can't sleep in the night. They earn a lot of money. They can't sleep in the night. They can't eat properly. Their mind is not at ease. I say that wealth is of no great use because it doesn't really bring the comfort that they seek. The whole purpose of seeking wealth is to seek the comfort. So if you have the right faith, then you do the right actions. That really brings you comfort. Daytime or nighttime, whether you are rich or poor, whether you are famous or not, it still brings you the comfort of your heart. Your heart is at ease. This is why Lord Buddha said the right faith is the greatest wealth. And when you develop your mind like this, automatically you're developing your spiritual life correctly based on the wholesome actions. So that's the first one. What is the greatest wealth? Lord Buddha said, right faith, when it is faith is rightly developed. And then Kim Su Suchinnang Sukhamavati. What brings happiness? What brings happiness? What brings happiness? To understand things correctly. To understand things correctly. That's what brings you happiness. When you understand, when you go on the road, say for example, if you're visiting a place where you do not know the language, maybe the signboards and the signs on the shops, everywhere, it's written in a language which is alien to you. You look around, what is this? You look around, what is this? Everywhere you go, you think, what is this? Then you are confused. But when you can read, you know what is written. You know, okay, this is just no big deal. So, practicing the right things, that's what it is. Practicing the right things. Dhamma. Dhamma is the right way of living, the righteous way of living, the correct way of living. What is the correct way of living? Cutting down on our greed and attachment, cutting down on our anger and animosity and hatred, cutting down on our ignorance. This is the right kind of practice. If we increase the greed uncontrollably, then it brings us unhappiness, distress, suffering. If we increase aversion and hatred and disliking, that it brings us unhappiness, suffering. Then all this comes from not knowing the nature, the true nature of things, how things really are, our ignorance, not knowing how this body is, for example. What is the nature of the body? The nature of the body is to change all the time, daytime or nighttime, whether you are healthy or sick, whether you are young or old. The nature of the body is to change for all people. Whether you are rich or poor, whether you are famous or not, does not matter. Whether you are belong to one country or another, whether you speak one language or the another, whether you eat one type of food or another type of food, does not matter. It's the same for all beings. The nature of the body is to decay, to have that understanding. The nature of the mind also to change. When it changes, when it keeps on changing all the time, you can't really depend on them for too long. You can't really depend on them for too long. That's why I say parents cannot depend on their children for too long. Children cannot depend on their parents for too long. Husband and wife cannot depend on each other for too long, or brothers and sisters and relatives and friends, and nobody can depend on each other for too long, because everybody changes with time. People changes with time. Everybody changes. Today or tomorrow, the nature of their mind is to change. That's all. No big deal. We only make a big deal out of this. Why do people change? Why should they not? That's just the way things are. That's simply just the way things are. Today or tomorrow they will change. Not necessarily in a bad way, maybe in a good way, but they will change for sure. Maybe in a bad way, maybe in a good way, but they will change for sure. The only thing that is constant is change. So this is the right understanding. So when you practice correctly, when you practice generosity, kindness, when you practice morality, good conduct, conduct that is based on goodness, goodness for you, helpful for you and helpful for others. When you practice meditation, it is all to see this. It is all to see this change, how it unfolds. Because all these, whether it is generosity, whether it is morality, whether it is meditation, these are all just one level advance of the previous level. That's all. Whether all these things are just to make our mind rightly established so that we can see things as they really are. And what they really are, change. You can't depend on anyone for too long, leave alone depending on other people for too long. This body that we call ours, we can't depend on this for too long. I see some people already finding discomfort sitting on the cushion. See, that's the nature of this body. We call our body, right? We call our body, but can it really be our body? If it was our body, then we could just control this. We could just say this is our body. It should not pain. It should not feel discomfort. No, it should not. You are the owner of this, but are you really owner of this? This is a point. When you have suffering and pain and discomfort, this is a point to consider. When you have unease of your heart, your mind doesn't feel good, doesn't feel peaceful, it's a point to consider. Why does this suffering arise? We consider like this. So the whole purpose of practicing Dhamma, Dana, generosity, Sila, morality, meditation, bhavana, all these is to understand the true nature. Is to understand their true nature. So when you practice correctly, then your mind is happy. It doesn't have the burden. It doesn't have the burden of too many things. Things are there. You live in the house. You have a car. You have job. You have so many things to take care. But when you live wisely, then they are not a burden. They are just things. They are just impermanent things. Come and go. You don't have to carry them on your head all the time. You don't have to carry them anywhere. But people have little things and then they carry it all day and all night, and then it becomes heavy. And then they say, this is not good. This is unpleasant. This life is not good. This life is unpleasant. This life is full of suffering, because they carry things. They carry their house, they carry their jobs, they carry their relationship, they carry everything all the time. These things are just things. Like you're sitting here in this hall. It's just a hall. Hall for a purpose. to develop the mind correctly, to develop the wisdom correctly, to understand things correctly. This is the purpose of this hall. When you understand like this, then you are at ease. You don't carry the hall all day long. That was big, that was like this, that was spacious, that was not good, that was good, that was beautiful, that was not beautiful. You don't have to carry it all day long. You don't have to carry anything. You see the hall as the right place for our development of mind. So everything is like this. All the things that you think is yours is just like this. It may have a purpose. If you understand the purpose and use it in the right way, then you are at ease with the things. Otherwise, you are burdened with things. Then you are unhappy. Then you are sad. Then you are depressed. So, the Dhamma, when it is practiced, it brings us the right approach. That brings us happiness. Then the third one, Deva asks Lord Buddha, what is the greatest of all tastes? What is the greatest of all tastes? This food, that food, this delicacy, that delicacy. He didn't say like this. He said, truthfulness is the greatest of all the tests. Truthfulness. When you are a truthful person, when you abide by truthfulness, this is the greatest of taste. You can eat anything, whatever you like to eat. Whatever you like to eat. And if you like it too much, I say, then go and eat it so much that you suffer from stomach upset. Then I say, you may even try to eat so much that you may end up being in hospital, or you may end up going close to death. Try that once. If you like it so much, then eat it so much. Do you like it then? Do you like it then? You like it. You like to eat something. You eat it so much that you are bedridden, or you are in the hospital, or you are about to die. Do you feel good about it then? Our food was so wonderful that I am dying now. Do you feel good about it? That's the real nature of the so-called tasty things. You can't eat them too much. If you don't eat, you die. You eat too much, you still die. You eat in the moderation, you will still die. Everybody dies. Whether you eat a lot of food, whether you eat almost don't eat at all, or even eating in moderation, you still die. The food can sustain us for some time, but not for all times. You will still die. That's why Lord Buddha didn't say this or that is the greatest of all tastes. But what makes our tongue good? What makes our tongue really sweet? When we speak the truth with compassion, not harshly, not in a way abusive manner or anything. When we can speak the truth with kindness, but of course we have to keep in mind with kindness does not necessarily mean being polite, being soft, too soft all the time. Doesn't mean. Sometimes you may tell it in a strong way, but still can speak with kindness. When you are telling things in a strong way, you may still speak with kindness and truthfulness. It is possible, very much. Like say, Lord Buddha gave an example. When the children, they end up playing outside and end up eating, say, sometimes, say, some soil or like some rock or something, they end up putting in their mouths. So if the parents see that, then they take it out of the mouth of the child. Why? And in the process, the child may resist. The child may resist, but the parents still take out whatever they have eaten, whatever they have put in their mouth, because they know if the child swallows it, then it will be a bigger problem. Simple. So similarly, when you speak the truth with kindness and compassion, but at times in a strong way, it is still good enough. But being truthful, the fundamental thing is being truthful, because this is the foundation of all good relationship, all good, whatever way people can sustain their relationship with their family members, with outsiders, with anybody, based on truthfulness, they can. But if they are not to abide by truth, if they are constantly lying, ultimately it affects all the relationships. If the children, they lie to their parents every day, or the parents lie to their children every day, then they can get sick and tired of each other. They may just start disliking each other after some time. They will think, oh, my son or daughter, all the time they're lying. Or they may say, my father or mother, all the time they're lying. They may get sick. They will eventually get sick and tired of each other ultimately. That's the way things are. So it cannot sustain any good relationship, untruthfulness, lying. So the relationship, the sweetness of all relationship lies in this simple thing, truthfulness. That's why he said, or Buddha said, this is the greatest of all tastes. And when you are practicing spiritual life, what for? For understanding the reality of things, understanding the ultimate truth. So, if you are aiming for ultimate truth, can you really start with lies? Can you? Starting with a lot of lies and aiming for the ultimate truth, does it really work for anyone? It doesn't. Simple. It doesn't. So that's why truth, he said, is the sweetest of all the tastes. And the fourth one, what is the right way, best way of living? What way of living is the best? Living with wisdom, Lord Buddha said. Living with wisdom is the best. Living with wisdom is what? When you know things as they really are. People live. They live with their parents and children. They live with their colleagues and friends and relatives and neighbors and known people and unknown people, everybody. But they don't know what to do with things. The biggest problem with the people is they don't really know what to do with the things. What to do with my job? What to do with my money? What to do with my name and fame? What to do with my relationship? They don't really know. Because they think this one is permanent. This one is going to remain like this. This one is special. This one shall not change all the time. They have no understanding of change. When you are looking at your parents or your children, we look at them with wisdom. Oh, this one will change. No big deal. Parents will change, eventually die. We will also die. The children, if you have children, they will also die. No big deal. When you look at things wisely, yes. So as long as you live with goodness, live with the virtue, live with the truthfulness, live with the kindness and compassion, because we'll all die. Simple. If people were to understand the nature of change, then they can live in the best way. They can live in the best way because they understand all things that I call mine isn't really mine. As I was giving the example, leave alone the other things and outside things and anything. Even this body that we call ourselves isn't really ours. Because it keeps on changing. You are tired, you want to sleep. You go to bed, you sleep. You try sleeping for too long, then your back pains. You have to change sides. But after changing side from left to right, right to left also, you can't sleep for too long, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, then again you have to get up. After getting up, you do your work all day long, then you get tired, again you go to sleep. So we have to reflect. We have to live like this. Live with change all the time. Sleep, when you are sleepy, you feel sleep is good enough. But after some time, you can't sleep. You can't sleep all day long. You get tired, you get bored, you get up. When you get up, then you say, well, oh, I need to sleep. Again, you go to sleep. So nothing is good enough. So this is the wisdom, the right wisdom. Nothing is good enough here. Leave alone other things. This body is not good enough. The mind that we call our mind isn't really permanent, isn't really stable. If the mind of the people were always stable, then what they wish to achieve, they can do. What they wish to think, they can do. If morning you get up and say, okay, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening, I will have A, B, C, D. You can make a list of the thoughts that you will have. And you will think only those thoughts and nothing else. But can you really do that? Can you really fix your thoughts before? You can't. Nobody can. That's the nature of the mind. It is changing. That's the nature of the body. It is changing. And with all things outside. With all things outside. That's the nature of things. So when you understand this, when you have the right wisdom to understand this, then you are at ease. Then you don't struggle. Then you don't struggle. The body is healthy, you don't struggle. Because when the body is healthy, people are arrogant. I am a healthy person. I never fall sick. And then when they fall sick, then they say, oh, I'm not such a healthy person. I'm sick and I am unhappy. That's the way things are. When they are thinking certain things that they like, oh, I like this. When they are thinking certain things that they don't like, oh, I don't like it. So the thing is, when you understand, okay, this is just this much, it is supposed to change, it has changed. We can't really do much about this. The nature of it is to change. When we have that wisdom, then we don't struggle. We don't struggle whether we have good health or bad health. We don't struggle we gain or lose. We don't struggle whether people praise us or blame us. We don't struggle. We think this is just a thing, just an impermanent thing. Has come, will go. Can't depend on it for too long. This is the right way of living. That's why Lord Buddha said, what is the best way of living? The Deva asked. Lord Buddha said, wisdom is the best way of living. So these four things, this is something that you can see, you can practice here and now. What is the right faith? Developing the right kind of faith. Faith in wholesome actions. Or that actions that are good for us and good for others. Developing a right living, righteous living with Dhamma. Developing truthfulness, developing wisdom. This is way to be happy and peaceful. I'm not saying in the next life. Some people say like this, in the next life. Please don't stretch your leg towards the shrine, this side. People say, oh, next life, if I do this next life, Lord Buddha would be critical of such people. He would say, if this person, if this man or woman can't find happiness or peacefulness here and now, what is that person going to carry to the next life? Only unpleasant feelings. So those who say, you do this and next life you'll be happy, but this life you have to suffer, don't believe such people. The teachings of Lord Buddha is not like this. He says, here and now, when you are giving dana, here and now you can see your mind is peaceful and light. If you are practicing morality, here and now your mind is feeling light because you are not harmful to others. You are not doing harm to others. When you are practicing meditation, you are letting go of all the things, that all your mental burden, your mind is light here and now. So if you are happy here and now, then only there is a chance that you will be happy in the next life. So those who say that you might be happy in the next life, this life you still have to suffer and you still have to remain unhappy, they are either ignorant or they are misleading you. Don't trust such people. The happiness must come here and now. The ease of heart must come here and now. If it is there, it is there. If it is not there, then you are not doing it correctly. Simple as that. You are not doing it correctly. So these things, if you practice, automatically it brings happiness in your life here and now. And it carries forward for the rest of your lives, and it carries forward in the next and next till the final one. So this much we offer to you for your practice. And I think it's already a lot of time spent. So we will conclude today's discourse with the chanting. Sukhi bhaveyang netokha ahang nechang ahang viha vitacha me sukhi honto majjata tachaverino imani gamma ketam he sattahanto sukhi sada tato parancha rajyesu chakkavale sujantano sadhu sadhu sadhu. So we will conclude today's program for Sunday Discourse. We'll meet again next Sunday.